Dear Mrs. Natividad, the distinguished audience, thank you very much for inviting me as the new German Federal Minister for, as you told, Education, Family Affairs, Senior Citizens, Women and Youth to this year's Global Summit of Women, hosted in Berlin. A hearty welcome to you all. It's really thrilling to be here among so many inspiring women, and also some men are present here. My warm welcome to you as well. When I took office, having served as an education minister for 8 years in one of the German Bundesländer, some people asked if I was feminist enough to also become a minister for women, and I tell you, you can bet on that. Let me briefly sketch why, from my point of view, education is one of the main keys to reaching equality, and why it is good to be a minister for education and equality at the same time. Access to education is a fundamental human right, ensuring that women and girls have equal access to not only a matter of justice, but also essential for global progress, economic development, and the improvement of societies, as you pointed out. Studies show that countries with higher levels of female education enjoy faster economic growth, greater political stability, and improved public health outcomes. Investing in girls' education is therefore one of the most effective ways to achieve sustainable development and build a more just and equal world. Investing in girls' education also means investing in their mothers, because mothers have a key role for the educational success of their sons and daughters. And so why is education for girls and women worldwide so important? It is crucial because education leads to empowerment. Knowledge and skills empower girls and women to make informed decisions about their lives, about health, about future, and even about politics. The more women and girls are aware of the consequences of decisions, the better and more consciously decisions can be made. This is not only beneficial on the individual level, but on a structural level as well. We know educated women are more likely to participate in the workforce, earn higher incomes, and contribute to the economy. Therefore, they make a positive impact on their families and communities. But it is women who are often expected to interrupt in their careers when they have children. It is women who face the risk of dropping out of the labor market. In Germany, women experience particularly high income losses compared with other countries due to motherhood and permanent part-time work. Mothers earn about half as much as fathers over the course of their life. This is actually scandalous. During this legislative period in the German government, I will therefore do everything to ensure that we take the childcare infrastructure to the highest possible standard of quality. This helps children and at the same time supports mothers in being substantially employed and economically self-sufficient. Education is possible in every phase of life, as basic education, as further training, or as continuing education, lifelong learning as we call it. Education is something one never regrets. Even older people in Germany consider it important to learn new things, for example, when it comes to participating in the digital world. Let me finally point out one thing. Values such as empathy, integrity, and human rights shall not differ in the digital age. We have to ensure that we do not lose our humanity while we spend more time staring at screens than having eye contact with our kids and partners and co-workers. The Internet is a huge collection of content and communication infrastructure. New digital services set new standards on knowledge management, communication, in bringing knowledge from around the world together, including traditional knowledge and new knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to be here. I wish you the very best for the conference, and I'm really proud to have you here in Berlin. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you very much for your question. You can count on me and you can count on the federal government in respect to the questions of violence against women, but also against children in the internet and in the digital world. And I'm right now implementing a commission which is going to deal with all the questions around digital, the problems in the digital world, especially violence, but also disinformation, fake news, and so on, as far as children and young people are concerned. And we are going to implement this commission in Germany to develop a strategy. And this strategy will, of course, be a question of better education on this field, but also a question of regulation. We will start with this commission in the next months and want to find solutions and to develop a strategy in the next years. And I'm also already in contact with my European colleagues on the EU level, because I'm sure we have to do something about that on the EU level that is going beyond the activities around the Digital Services Act.
Okay, we'll go to Thailand first, then I'll go to you in the back.
Thank you so much. I would like to maybe report to you, Irene, as well as a question to Excellency. When Global Summit happened in Bangkok, Thailand, we made a promise that we will pass a law to protect women and children from violence, especially from social media. And to report to you, Irene, we will pass the law within this year.
Oh, wonderful.
And I have learned some new wording. For example, sexting, grooming, this kind of thing happening in the social media. And we will be able to take action against this. And we will be able to teach parents to learn how to cope with this. And so not only just to report to you, Irene, it happens from Global Summit from Bangkok, yes. But then at the same time, I would like to ask Excellency, how about in Germany? Are you doing the same thing? Because as you say, the digital age must come with humanity. And so therefore, what is your action in terms of law regulation? Thank you.
Well, as I mentioned before, we are starting with a commission in the next weeks who will be in charge for developing a strategy against this kind of phenomenons. It's a question of violence, but it's also a question of disinformation. We will take action either on the European level. I would prefer to do it on the level of the European Union, but I'm convinced that we have to do something about more regulation in social media and in the internet. And so I'm right now, we are discussing this topic very intensively in Germany, but also on the level of the European Union. And well, I would really prefer that we find a solution in the European community, because we are one economic
market.
So we need a solution that is in all countries of the European Union.
Let me just say that the European Commission passed the only AI law, it's a guardrail law, that affects all 28 member nations. And so when the minister keeps referring to the EU, it's because borders are so close to each other and the internet covers the entire region. So what is needed is region-wide law that then each country is mandated to follow. And in terms of Thailand, the issue of trafficking of girls and women was raised at our summit in Bangkok in 2021, and there were commitments made by both business and government to address it. And so I am delighted that indeed a law is now going to be passed that attempts to address at least the digital component. So thank you for sharing that. There was a question in the back.
Morning. Good morning, Yvonne Weiss from the Funke Mediengruppe. In Germany, we had a very good idea for equality. It's called the Familienstaatzeit. The last government was already talking about it. How do you see the chances that this very good idea is going to come?
Well, what I can say is that we want to make additional efforts to make parents share the first weeks and months of their children, with their children, and we will discuss this topic in our coalition, how to get there. Familienstaatzeit is one alternative, but there are others too. So, but we agree in this goal that there should be more opportunities for men to be with their children in the first weeks and months of their life.
Okay. Iceland, do you have your tent up? Yeah. Thailand, can you put your tent down, please? You have to press the button.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. My name is Jónína Bjartmars, and I'm from Iceland, a former MP and a former minister. Yesterday and today I'm thinking about the lack of children being born in all our societies and everything. So it touches on what you just responded to now. For us, the key to the whole thing, the gender equality and everything, is having families continue to have, women continue to have children, but it's the equal and paid maternal and paternal leave. It has made all the difference, not just in Iceland, but in all the other Nordic countries. And someone might say, yes, in these countries it's doable, but it's doable elsewhere, at least in Europe, where there are no cultural barriers. In Europe, anyway. It might be in some Asian countries, but well, we come from Vikings and they don't sound like they are very child-friendly. But just to share with you, for us, equality doesn't come from the top, it comes from the bottom. You have to bring up the young men. They have to have the right to take care of their children, not just the first days or weeks, but equal with the mother. And this makes all the difference in the household for the future. So I'm urging you in Germany to take bigger steps towards this.
Well, I agree.
Thank you.
It's, of course, it comes from the bottom, and it has to come from the top as well. But we need men who believe in equality, and we need men who take equality, who are taking equality really seriously, and we have to work on that. So in this legislation period, I want to have a closer look on the situation of men in our society as well, because I'm a little bit worried about some developments around young men we can see,
yes.
Especially, well, in some countries in the world, I would say. So men are an important part of are very important to improve the situation of women. That's quite easy, but we have to have a closer look on their situation.
I agree. I have to tell you, Sweden had paid parental leave for men and women, but the men weren't taking the leave initially because they didn't want to look weaker, you know, or be out of the promotion consideration. If they took it, that they would be deemed as not as serious. And so they weren't taking the leave. So you know what Sweden did? They taxed that leave. If you don't take it, we will tax you. Well, money works. And the men started, because they have to, okay, to take that leave. Divorce rates went down. Women came back to work a lot faster. They weren't derailed from promotions, and that's the reason behind having such strong parental leave policies that forces, frankly, it takes forcing some men to take the leave. I have to tell you, it's not...
Can I just add to this?
Yeah.
The key to the success in Iceland is because it was not presented like an obligation. It was presented as the man's right. And they said, oh, I have the
good
right
argument.
to do this. And that's
Yes.
90% of all men in Iceland or more, they use this fully.
Well, we can't all move to Iceland. So we need the men as
But
allies.
you can learn from our successes.
Yes, we can learn from Iceland. So, any other questions or comments for this part? So I'm going to close this part of the program. I will invite the press to please leave so that the ministers can now discuss things in private. So, thank you to the back of the room for joining us. Okay.